Welcome, spiritual seekers. So today was very exciting for me because I actually tried 5-MeO DMT for the first time, and it was a fantastic experience, very clean, and definitely, as I've heard, I think it is, from my experience, the best psychedelic, the best entheogen for self-development, spiritual pursuits. But because it was a good day, I wanted to share 5 of the reasons and tips why I think what turned out so well, so that you could maybe do those same things and have a great, fantastic 5-MeO trip when you first try it. Maybe it's coming up for you. That's very exciting. Let me know in the comments what you're hoping to experience. But here we go. The first of my steps, of my tips, and this is the most important one straight out of the bat, it's to start with a small dosage. This is just common sense, I would say, because if you do have a bad trip, at least it's not going to be a super bad trip. And I actually took 11 milligrams, which is a half or a third-ish of a breakthrough dose. And definitely that was enough to feel the effects, and it was very insightful. And actually I was enjoying it so much that I wanted more effect. But that's the way to go, because that leaves you excited for the next time and feeling good about it. You don't want your first experience to be overwhelming and terrifying, because there are reports of that, because that's going to put you off and make you fearful in future trips. So a small dose is definitely the way to go, to start slowly and ease your way into these powerful experiences. But now tip number 2, which is maybe as important, very close to, and that's to meditate before your trip. And today I was very lucky and fortunate to have a lot of spare time, and I actually got to enjoy my morning, start slow, have a good breakfast, do some chores around the house, just clean everything. So more generally, just prepare yourself mentally. And then actually I did some meditation as well for a few hours. Actually, as much time as you can would be good. And I've actually found that if you've heard the stories of 5-MeO, just knowing that you're about to trip on 5-MeO is enough to focus your mind, to give you really nice and insightful meditations, even just sober. So they were very nice meditations, and I also did some positive affirmations, which I like. I did a yoga routine, which I've been doing for a few years, and it just helps prepare the mind and set the right intention and put your mind on the right page for this experience. And no matter what your level of meditation, I would recommend meditate as much time as you can, as you're comfortable with, because that's definitely, I think, going to make a huge difference to the quality of your experience. And if you were doing some nonsense right before your trip, for instance, just watching cartoons, then I think that will negatively influence the depth and quality of your trip. So tip 3 now would be, this is maybe actually the most important tip, the most important recommendation, and that's to plug the 5-MeO, don't smoke it. And I say this because I'm comparing it to my DMT trips, which I smoked, which were very insightful, very breakthrough-ish, but at the same time it felt so harsh, it did feel unhealthy. Whereas if you smoke it, and 5-MeO is really the perfect substance to plug, I think it's, for a few reasons, it's better. Number 1 is it doesn't harm your lungs. Number 2 is that I think if you buy into this whole chakra system, which I do, it's working more and bringing light to the lower chakras rather than the head, which is very useful, very, very useful. And also it lasts longer, and the onset is more slow and less sudden. So for those reasons, I would definitely recommend plugging, not smoking. And I can say from my experience, it works perfectly, absolutely wonderful. No dramas, it's super easy. Just watch a video about how to do it if you're curious. Actualize.org, if you Google search it, not YouTube, Google search his video on how to plug 5-MeO DMT. He's got a good informational video on that. So number 4, this is a good general tip for all psychedelics, is be in an optimistic headspace when you're doing it. And again, I was just very lucky this morning to be in a good headspace. I woke up with a nice song stuck in my head, with a nice song, and I was just feeling good in general. I was just feeling excited. I've been waiting for this for a while. I really wanted to do it. But if you're not feeling your best, don't just do it because you have the substance of 5-MeO. Wait until you're feeling good, until you're feeling better, because you want it to be a good trip. And it's very important that it's a good trip, because if you have a bad trip, as I mentioned earlier, that's going to scare you for future trips. So you don't need to be in the best headspace that you've ever been, but be in an optimistic headspace where you think that this is going to be a positive experience, and avoid negative thoughts, obviously, if you can. I can personally tell you that 5-MeO, there's some scary stories out there, but in my experience from today, it's the most, if you take a small dose, as I'm recommending, it's a very gentle, caring, clean substance with very little twisted nature to it. So there's nothing to be scared of. As long as you start off a slow dose, it's not going to be too terrifying. So just be in an optimistic headspace and trust, as lots of people report, that this is going to be a heart-opening experience, and open up to the experience in a trusting manner, not a fearful manner. Okay, so that was a bit of a ramble, but now for number 5, I'm going to end as I almost began on point 2, which is to meditate afterwards. Because especially if you plug the substance, as I'm recommending, the wave isn't very sharp, if that makes sense. There's a definite come up, and then you can feel like, yeah, I'm tripping now. But then the come down is very gentle, and there isn't a clear point where it just finishes. And at some point you're still feeling sober, or you feel sober again, rather. Excuse me. But there's still a lot of chance for valuable insights to be had. And just meditating afterwards can, for me, the 5-MeO trip was very insightful, but on many, many different topics. So your mind kind of goes all over the place. And it's a nice amount of length, the 5-MeO when plugging. But at the same time, it's not quite enough trip to not enough time to integrate everything. So meditating afterwards really is a good time to holistically go through what happened, how your body's feeling, and to just absorb and integrate the experience. Because ultimately, you don't just want to reach some peak and then fall back down to earth. You want to learn from it and remember it in your body. So yeah, that's my last tip, is to meditate afterwards. And yeah, that's about it. That's my 5 tips. But I will just also say before I end that if you're thinking of doing 5-MeO, don't be scared. It's a really wonderful substance for doing spiritual work, because it's not trippy at all. In my experience, it is very lacking in visuals, actually. It just raises your level of consciousness. It's really interesting. And all you have to do is drop all your beliefs as they come up, and the result will be really spectacular, really beautiful, really loving, heart-opening. It's really something special. So yeah, I'm just rambling now, but I recommend doing it definitely. And if you're interested in any other questions of 5-MeO, I'm just a beginner. I just did it for the first time today, but feel free to ask in the comments. I'd love a discussion, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content in the future. But either way, I really wish you the best of luck on your first 5-MeO trip, and I'm sure if you follow these steps, it's going to be fabulous, wonderful, insightful, heart-opening experience.